Hey guys, hope you're well. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing a marriage success story. And this is a beautiful success story. This is going to be very in detail. And the best thing about this story is that you will get to see how manifestation works unconsciously and then how manifestation works consciously. So in this situation, you will get to know everything. You will get to see circumstances, you will get to see breakups, you'll get to see third parties, you will get to see parents not agreeing. So this is going to be a big story, a big story. I will explain it in a step by step perspective. This video might be slightly long, but bear with me and please listen to this to the end, because if you are manifesting a specific person, there will be some aspect of it that you would have faced yourself or you must be facing right now that comes into this, because this is such a, this is one of my favorite success stories till date. So I will start talking about this in a step-by-step manner. There are a few things here which I won't be able to share because of confidentiality reasons, because of which I'm not even able to share the chat from my client. But she has given me permission to share as many things as I can, and I will try to talk about those things only. So let's start by understanding what the story is. So the girl is my client, the girl who took coaching from me, this woman, she was my client. She came to me, I think 1 year back, and we worked a little bit, I think for a few months. Then she got some results, then she faced another issue, then we worked on it after that, and now she's in a very good place and everything has worked out, and I'm very happy with this. So this girl, she comes up from a family where her father was actually very wealthy when she was younger, but then her father lost all the money that he had. And because of that, what eventually ended up happening with this girl is that, because at that time she was of that age, she started seeing a lot of financial issues. She had weight loss problems, she had body image issues, and she was bullied a lot because of it. And also, now that she was facing this issue, her friends, which she thought were coming from a good place, at that time were actually bullying her because of it, because they were coming from a wealthy background and they had seen her lose all this wealth. So at this time, she actually started facing a lot of financial issues, to a place where her family had a lot of money till they had none, right? And she was at this age, she was going through college, going through university, and this was her learning phase. So because she was in this position, it was difficult for her to deal with this, especially because her college fee, things like that, her future, all was under demands here. She hadn't had a relationship before this guy till now. Now, in college, in a university, when she was facing these issues, is when she met this person. So, being her first relationship, she got involved with this guy very quickly. And it started from a case of early attachment, where these two people got together, and eventually they got together not from a very healthy perspective, because there was a lot of love bombing. And at that time, of course, she didn't know. So there was a lot of love bombing. They just got together in a way where, they started talking and just connected. Eventually, after getting connected, their relationship started. Now, as the relationship started, it went on for a few months. By this time, and when I say a few, I mean 11, 10 months, things like that. So by this time, she had already gotten accustomed to some things on how relationships are supposed to be, and this person had became her safe haven. Like at that time, this person became the thing that gave her guidance or gave her support, because at this time she was lacking it a lot. Her father was going through something because of which he wasn't able to provide it to her, and she was actually relying on this person very deeply. Now, as she was in this zone where she was relying on it, she also didn't know what a relationship is supposed to be. So in her own unhealthy ways, she sabotaged it. So it got to a level where the relationship was getting slightly serious, and she was also growing up in age. So one day she got slightly panicked, and some issue happened, and she unconsciously, without with something that she did, her mom got to know about this relationship, and at that time her parents were slightly conservative about this, so the relationship had to end. Right now, she panicked, and she eventually had to break up with this person. Now, at the start, this person tried to convince her a lot to get back, but at that time she wouldn't. And because she was very scared, more so than the commitment, she was scared of how this relationship might affect her moving forward, because in the past she had been attached to her wealth, and it was taken away, and it was a very big hit to her, and she was also afraid to attach herself to this person. So this situation went along, and this guy pursued her for a while, but eventually he stopped. See, it's a full roller coaster. By this time, this girl realized that she has feelings for this person and she would want to get him back. And regardless of her mom, regardless of her parents, she started to pursue this person. These were some depressing days in her life because she was not doing good at all. And at this time, this person had, at this moment, started dating someone else. Now, when this person did start to date someone else, this is where her issues got triggered. She started feeling very insecure and she got into a full chaser mode. So, this is where everything is done unconsciously. She does not know what manifestation is, she does not realize anything about it, and this is where she starts to work on this. So, what happened is that she started chasing this person very very severely. She tried to make have him come back. She tried for this relationship to happen. There was also infidelity involved. There were a lot of things which went in a very negative spiral, and this guy at that time, based on his constraints, was giving her false hopes for a while. And she was also having a lack of boundaries, and because she was coming from this place where her knowledge of love came from movies, at this time taking a stand for herself was something that she wasn't able to comprehend. So she thought, if I stick with this person long enough, eventually he will end up giving me something. So she was sacrificing herself and calling it love, something we have all done at some points in our life. This situation kept on going on for a while, till the point that one day she got to know something that about the third party and this guy, and this dynamic ended there. This is where her unconscious change started to happen. So this is where she started to realize that I don't actually have to go in this situation anymore, because this was her end, this was her peak. When this thing happened, this was her peak. Now, this girl, as I mentioned before, she comes from body image issues. So, this is where she started eating healthy. She started eating healthy, she started losing weight, she got into a very toned, trimmed figure. And this was not for this guy, but because she wanted to feel healthy in herself. She wanted to feel confident in herself. And all these things were attempts for her to feel so. So, this is what she did, and she started to work on herself, get into a very good position. She also started talking to this person less. In the dynamic that they have, she cut him off. At that time, she cut him off because she was sick of getting this behavior from him. So after cutting him off, this person was like, there was a no contact situation for a while. Now, this is where, after working on herself, she started to get into conscious manifestation. So, this is where this girl started to realize that she has some security issues in herself, and she has some abandonment issues, and she has to work on her perception of relationships. So, this is where she started working on her perception of relationships, and this is where her dynamic started getting different. At this time, she had a desire for this person and she wanted this situation back, but she was adamant that I need to work on myself first, and only then I will know why I want this person. And I didn't tell it to her. She decided this by herself. One thing that people get scared of when I tell them that, you know what, you working on yourself might mean that you might have to end up letting go of this situation, is that somewhere we feel that we will be forced to let go of it. That's not true. There are many desires which can be derived from unhealthy attachments. Eventually, working on yourself is the only way where you will realize if this desire is from an unhealthy attachment, or if it's not, or if it's something that is coming from a healthy place within yourself. A lot of times, a part of us knows that if I do work on myself, I will end up letting go of this. Hence, we end up avoiding the work that we know we have to do. And while we are avoiding the work, we are also avoiding the success that gets towards this work, and because of which we keep being stuck in this dynamic. If working on yourself might mean letting this go, then that is what it means. And no amount of escapism will help us get out of it. But it also will mean that if this desire is coming from a healthy place within you, then working on yourself will only make your resolve and your condition stronger. So when this girl started working on herself, she started to realize where her desire was coming from, and she started to actually let go of this attachment that she had with this person. While she let go of this attachment, she realized that at the start, she was the one who sabotaged this relationship and she would want it back. Her focus was not on him, her focus was on her. And eventually, after a while, she got to know that this person and this girl had broken up. Now, there was nothing that she did. She didn't affirm for the third party, she didn't affirm for the person. None of this was done because of that. She just started working on herself and she started to realize her value. And eventually, that happened automatically. After that happened, this guy started to reach out and they started getting and becoming friends again. This is when this girl reached out to me. Now, after we connected, I understood her situation and we started formulating a game plan. We worked on her relationship perspective, her perception of herself, and her perception of herself when it comes to relationships. Also, her fears of feeling abandoned by men, because that is what she was feeling. She felt abandoned by her father, and she felt abandoned by this guy. And this is where we started working on that. After a while, she eventually started seeing a lot of movement, and this guy started to come towards her. There was nothing that we did in relation to this person, because once we started changing our perceptions of men, our perceptions of this person also started to change, because a lot of our perceptions are coming because of our general perception of men. After we got into this direction, this guy begged for commitment, and they got into a committed relationship. Now, at that time, this is where my work stopped with this client. So she got into this relationship, it went well for her. She was starting to do well and everything, till she reached out to me a while back recently. And she came to me and she told me that my relationship has been going amazing. This guy has proposed me for an engagement. We are just planning to get together very soon, and we are going to get together very, very soon. But there is an issue, because somewhere I feel my father might not agree for this marriage, because my father has resentment against this guy from the time that we end up where we were in a breakup. Now, this is where we started working on that. So, this is where we specifically worked on three things. First, she was getting very impatient, and what her natural response was is that every time things were not going according to plan, she just used to shut off. So, it was just very easy for her to tell herself that, you know what, if this is not going how I want it to be, won't just happen. So, let me just even give up on hopes. This was her natural instinct, because she was trying to protect herself from pain. The second thing we worked on is we worked on her perception of her father, because she had a very negative perception of his father because of the issues that he had started to get into when she was younger. And lastly, we worked on her belief system when it comes to, after she gets married, her relationship with her mother-in-law, because she was facing some issues when it comes to her, and she felt that that might be a reason why she might be pulling herself away from her. I got to know very, very recently that her father has agreed and her marriage date is fixed, and they are getting married, and everything is going in the direction that we planned it for. And I'm really, really happy that this time she's not actually desperate about this at all. She's coming from a situation where she has confidence in her abilities to get this, and she has belief in her abilities to make it happen for herself. I'm super happy to hear this, and I'm really, really glad that I got a chance to work with this person. If you learned something from this video, understand that no circumstance is final, but self-work is the only reason. Here, unconsciously, she was sabotaging it for herself, and consciously, she started working on herself. But you can also see the effects of her unconscious change in her manifestations. And that is what we are looking for. We want to actually be in a position where we make manifestation our lifestyle, so that these kind of results become our natural. From the time where she wouldn't even get a text back from this person to being in a situation where they are about to get married. This is what I call a success story. So I hope that you guys love this video. I hope that you learned something from this, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you liked the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.